Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindful Mondays here at Dallas Meditation Center. And happy to have you join us. And, if you're new and have just found us either by searching on YouTube or decided to come join us for the first time tonight, we welcome you. And our practice is intentionally beginner friendly. So just follow along. It's pretty easy. And it's all about mindfulness and awareness. And, meditation isn't something like I have to do this or I have to do that. It's really about experiencing what is and being able to find ways to, let go of perhaps our worrying about the past or making our list of what we need to do tomorrow, those normal things that run through our mind. So it's really about being aware of when that happens. And maybe we have a technique or two to help us get back, but really it's about experiencing whatever you're experiencing in this moment. And so I welcome you to check in the chat window, and we'll read those a little bit later on, but it's always nice to know when there's someone on the other side. And my name is Cornell. Tonight, Alex will lead us in guided meditation and a reading. And then following that, we will join up together for any of us who would like to, and I hope that's all of us. We'll join up on Zoom so we can have a little bit of discussion and Q&A and check in with each other. And I'll post that Zoom link in the chat window here in a little bit. But for right now, I welcome you to just sort of sit back, put the phone on Do Not Disturb, and just find that quiet space. And really glad you're here with us tonight.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex. This is Nicole. So I'm gonna guide you through our meditation, and then I'll share from a reading. So firstly, just want to echo Cornell's thoughts and thank you for joining us this evening. And you may also like to just take a moment to acknowledge, thank yourself for carving out this time for yourself and yourself alone. So we'll start by just a few deep breaths. And you'll try to find a comfortable posture. If you're sitting, try to keep the spine straight, but also not tensing too much, and then just kind of let the body relax into the sitting posture, or if you're lying down, or whatever else feels comfortable. And then we'll listen to 3 sounds of the bell. And then just bring our attention to our breath. And breathing in, and aware of breathing in, breathing out. I'm aware of breathing out. Becoming aware of the air flowing in through our nostrils, our chest expanding. And as we exhale, our chest settling back and the air leaving our nostrils. Today, I want to share a grounding meditation. Maybe it's been a hectic day or week or last couple of months. And meditation can be a good time to just check in with our bodies. And in addition to realizing the emotions that we may be feeling, stress, tension, and also happiness and pleasant feelings, we can also come into our bodies to ground ourselves. So, still staying with the breath, breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to bring your attention to your chest and to your torso, and perhaps becoming aware of all of the vital organs that reside in that area. So much of what works constantly every day to keep us alive and well and in addition, we might find that there are emotions that take up residence there as well, both pleasant and unpleasant. And as we stay with the breath, breathing in and breathing out, can take some time to feel all the sensations in our body and also any emotions. Just making space for each to come and then to float away, kind of like a cloud in the sky. And if you find that your mind begins to wander or you're entertaining thoughts about the past, the future, you can simply acknowledge that, then bring the attention back into the body, back to the breath. You may choose to notice the solidity in the body that holds us all together, keeps us safe. You may choose to bring your attention to the point or points where your body meets the ground, the earth, the floor beneath you. And you may choose to imagine roots spreading down, connecting your body deep into the earth. And allowing you to sprout up in your sitting position. Noticing that the whole earth is beneath you and is supporting you. Regardless of where your mind and your thoughts take you, you can always come back to this place. We can allow the support that our body and the earth beneath us provides to allow the mind to let go of any thoughts, to rest in the present moment. With each breath in and each breath out, becoming more and more aware of our body, becoming more and more aware of the present moment. And as we become more and more aware of our body resting in the present moment, you may choose to bring your attention to the center of your chest, the center of all those vital organs. You may choose to imagine it as a white light in the center of your chest. Something like the center of your being. You can feel it pulse as you breathe in and you breathe back out. And focusing on our own centers, we can realize our connection with all the other beings that have the same center. All of us here meditating together. We can realize how we are all the same, how we are all connected. We are connected to each other, how we're connected to all other beings on this planet. Grounded through our bodies, through the earth, and through our interconnectedness. And slowly coming back, moving the body, opening the eyes. I hope everyone had a pleasant and relaxing meditation. And so I was trying to find a reading that was kind of similar to the concept of grounding, and I kind of failed. So I haven't really read this too much, but I think that the theme is a little similar. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but I think it should be interesting. So we'll see how this goes. This talk is called One Step at a Time. It goes, try to stay with each breath. If it's too much to think about staying here for the full hour, stay with this breath and then this breath. In fact, if you start thinking too far ahead, you're going to miss this breath and you're going to miss the point where the mind slips off. But if you keep things small, keep things manageable, you do a lot better job. So this breath, this breath, this breath. And as your past breaths, and as for your past breaths, well, for one thing, they're not here anymore, and whether you're able to stay with them or not doesn't matter anymore. What matters right now is this breath. Similarly, breaths in the future are not here for you to look at either. You can't be responsible for whether you're going to stay with them then. You will be responsible then if you learn how to be responsible now. So take it one step at a time. Even when the meditation is not especially easy or pleasant, taking it one step at a time makes it a lot more manageable. In other words, if the breath doesn't seem all that enthralling or absorbing, and there's a pain here or a pain there, it's a lot easier to take it one step at a time. Back when I was in Thailand, I had a fairly long alms round, and there were days when the rain was just pouring down in buckets. There was no way I was not going to get wet, even though I had a big umbrella. The wind would blow, the rain would come from all sides, and when I thought about the whole hour and a half I was going to be out there slogging through the mud, it was difficult to get up the energy just to take the first step. But then I realized, of course, that if I didn't go on my alms round, I wouldn't get to eat that day. So I took it one step at a time. This step, this step, this step. You'd be surprised how quickly, when you take it one step at a time, that hour and a half goes, how manageable it is, even when it's raining hard. You're not weighing yourself down with the past or future, with how many steps you've taken or how many minutes you've been out on the road, and how much longer it's going to be before you get back to a place that's dry. You're right here, right here, right here. And you find that right here is okay. It's manageable. It may not be the most wonderful moment, but at least it's manageable. This principle can help carry you through a lot. When you're dealing with pain, often the pain gets really bad, not so much because the actual physical sensation is bad, but because you're weighing yourself down with thoughts about how long the pain has been going on and how much longer it's going to go on in the future. And so all that past and all that future weigh down this one little moment here in the present. No wonder the present buckles under the weight. But if all the present has to do is support just this one moment, you find that it's capable. It can stand up to whatever weight there is in the moment. So the ability to focus exclusively on what's happening right here, right now is a very useful skill. But it's not the only skill we have to develop while meditating. Some people want to make the whole meditation just that, being in the present moment. But that's only one of the skills we need to develop. There's also the skill of how to make the present moment a pleasant place to be. And that requires some memory of the past. That's worked in the past. What's worked in the past? What hasn't worked in the past? That's called the skillful use of the past, just as there's a skillful use of the future. Having a sense that this practice is going someplace, there's a direction to it that's going to take you to total freedom. And as you work on your skills, it's not always going to be a story of stumbling along and falling down, having to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, walk a few more steps, and stumble again. It's not always going to be that way. There comes a time when you really get into the breath and you begin to notice patterns. If you had no memory of the past and no sense of the future, you wouldn't be able to see patterns. The patterns in what you've done, the results that come when you do it. That requires using the past skillfully. Some of your actions will have results in the immediate present, but some of them will take time to show their results. If you don't have that sense of mindfulness, which is what this memory of the past is, mindfulness, if you don't have that mindfulness, you can't learn any lessons. And although each present moment may be a wonderful new beginner's moment, still you don't learn anything from it. Your progress gets short-circuited right there. So an important skill in meditation is how to make skillful use of the past, skillful use of the future. The Buddha outlined this in his teachings to the Kalamas, and also in his teachings to his son Rahula. Notice the intention behind what you do. Watch what you're doing while you're doing it, and then watch for the results. See the connection between the type of intention and the type of results you get, either immediately or over time. That's the skillful use of the past. Unskillful use of the past is when you run back to either getting happy or sad about how things were in the past. Unskillful use of the future is when you start anticipating, either with desire or aversion or fear, what's going to happen in the future. The one fear that is useful is the fear of the consequences of unskillful actions. That's what keeps you on the path in the present. Another skillful use of the future is your anticipation of how good it's going to be when you finally master this. But still, there's no way you're going to get there unless you follow the steps. So learn to recognize when your mind is referring you to the past or the future. What are the skillful ways of bringing in the past or the future, and what are the unskillful ways? Sometimes a skillful recollection, say, of the future could be, death could come at any moment. Are you ready to go? If you're not, well, what are you doing right now to prepare yourself? That's using the future as a spur. So when you realize that the past and the future do have their uses, you give more dimension to the practice. If this were just a practice of staying in the present moment, we could all go out and have frontal lobotomies, and that would take care of it. But it doesn't work that way. You need some sense of the past. You have to be observant and remember what worked and what didn't work in the past, and then see how those lessons apply to the present moment. Sometimes you have to relearn a lesson or adjust a past lesson because what seemed to work in the past may not be working this time. That simply means you have to be even more observant of what's going on. It doesn't mean you totally throw out the past. It means you take your knowledge and adjust it. You make it more refined. And this is how the practice develops, as you build on your past mistakes and on your past successes as well. So remember that there's more dimension to the practice than just simply the present moment. But the skill of staying in the present moment is one of the most difficult ones to learn, which is why we emphasize it so much. After all, where are you going to observe things if you're not really observant of the present moment? If the lessons you learned in the past aren't working, maybe you weren't really observant then. This is a chance to get more observant, more precise with each and every breath. Learn at which point of the breath cycle you tend to lose your focus. For some people, it's between the in-breath and the out-breath, or between the out-breath and the in. Sometimes it's when a particular breath is uncomfortable. You don't like it, you move off. So learn to watch for any lightness or tension that may appear in the breath. Watch out for the tendency to lose focus in between the breaths. See what you can do to counteract those tendencies. Ask yourself how you recognize the point where the out-breath turns to an in-breath. In some cases, it's very subtle, and we have a tendency, when we're trying to create a boundary line like that, to make it more clearly drawn than it has to really be. So watch for that tendency as well, because it creates a lot of unnecessary blockage and tension. Try to be with the whole cycle of each breath all the way through as precisely as you can. Then, at the end of the meditation, you can stop and reflect on what you did, what lessons you learned. Some lessons are immediately obvious. You do something and you immediately get good or bad results. With those lessons, you don't have to reflect too much on the past. They're right there. Other lessons you learn by reflecting on, say, a bad session. What are you doing? Why isn't it going well? When you have good sessions, reflect on those after you're done. What did you do? How did you focus on the mind? Take that lesson and file it away for future reference. You may, when you pull it out from your mental filing cabinet, discover that it wasn't quite as precisely observed as you might want, but you have lots of breaths to watch, lots of opportunities to relearn your lessons. So this is an incremental path, a gradual one, but there's nothing wrong with that. So, as you're working on each breath, remember that you're on a path that can take a long time, but every journey requires individual steps. This is why the Buddha called it a path. If it weren't a path, it wouldn't have any direction, but it does have a direction, and the gradual steps are good steps to take. Not all the good things are saved to the end, but ultimately, as you get more and more precisely in the present moment with more skill, the skill you've learned from the past, those gradual steps suddenly open up to something totally other. And it's all found by looking right here. You don't have to look anywhere else. This is one of the amazing things about the Buddha's teachings. It's all the great lessons we have to learn. All the great lessons we have to learn are right here. We don't have to speculate about some event way back at the beginning of the universe. That's not relevant. We don't have to pin our hopes on a judgment day at the end of the universe. That's not relevant either. The relevant things are what we can see for ourselves right here, right now. Things change. Well, how do they change? Is there a pattern to their change? Watch right here and you'll find out. Watch in a way that grows more precise over time by learning how to make skillful use not only of the present, but also of your memories and your anticipation of where you want this to lead you in the future. Learn to use these things properly, and they all become part of the path. Yeah, so I'm really interested to get everyone's thoughts on that. That was my first time reading through this whole thing. I kind of just stumbled upon it, and I kind of skimmed the beginning section, so I had some thoughts on that. I really like the idea of, I guess, staying with the breath, taking it one step at a time, but then it kind of, I think there's a lot in there, and especially towards the second half, there's a lot of different topics that are there, and I don't think I've fully had a chance to kind of digest all of it, and I think there's a lot of ideas there. Some of them that are a little different for me as well. I think specifically concerning like the present moment versus the past and the future, and then how past and the future can be useful. Whereas I guess we also sometimes tend to really emphasize just being in the present. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear everyone's thoughts on that. But for me, what really struck out was kind of at the beginning about the one step at a time, and how you can break down things that seem overwhelming or unmanageable into just one step at a time. And that's kind of the main reason I picked this reading. And yeah, so I think those are my thoughts, but I'm looking forward to hear everyone else's. So I'll hand it back to Cornell for now.
Thank you, Alex, for that guided meditation and for the talk and the reading. And there were lots of things in that reading for me. I'll chat about it some in the Zoom meeting that follows. But for me, it was the point of sometimes the question comes up, or maybe well, let me word this differently. There was that one part in there that what is useful memories of the past versus what is unuseful. And I'll put it that way. And I thought that was an interesting way of putting that, and an interesting way to address, that we naturally as humans, we can't separate ourselves from the past. Our past really is our past, but it isn't right now and stuff. So anyway, it's about the lessons learned. So thank you for that. And like I said, there'll be more discussion on Zoom, and you can, ask questions or, share your thoughts on the reading. And you will find that Zoom link in the chat window. And in addition to the links, and sometimes that doesn't work for some people out of the chat window, I've also included the meeting ID in case you need that. And I will say hello to Sarah and to Michaela and Izzy for checking in. So there are, the only few announcements is September 2nd, which is day after tomorrow. That is Brother Chi Sing's birthday, our founder. He's no longer with us, but we always do something for his birthday. And so what it will be is next Sunday, our gathering on Sunday, our Southern Sunday gathering will be to honor his life. And so we'll just be sharing some memories and maybe some of his music, and we will have a guest speaker. And some of you may know Brian Kimmel, or BK. He lives in Seattle, but he and Brother Chi Sing went through parts of the ordination process together, and they've been very close collaborators with music and the Dharma. And so I'm sure Brian will share some songs with us, and perhaps some of his stories about Brother Chi Sing. So that's Sunday at 5 at our usual Sunday Awakening Heart gathering. And then the other announcement is about Giving Tuesday is coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. I don't have the date, but it's around September 17th, September 18th. And those of you on the mailing list have probably seen information about that. And that's, sorry, it's not Giving Tuesday. If I said that, it's North Texas Giving Day. And so that's an opportunity to honor all the nonprofit communities in North Texas, and Dallas Meditation Center being one of them. So please do. We hope you participate in North Texas Giving Day. So I would like to close this part of our meeting, but please do come over and join us on Zoom. We will be there in a minute or two. And so we will see you over there. And let's see if I can find my bell. I will do 2 sounds of the bell, and then we will say our closing chant. Countless beings we vow to free, ceaseless afflictions we vow to end, limitless truth doors we vow to open, the deepest paths of awakening we vow to realize. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and I hope to see you over on Zoom in a couple of minutes. Have a great evening. Well, really,